think it's crazy I'm the one who they labeled as controversial, and Cardi B is the role model for 12-year-old girls. There's rappers pushing Xanax at the top of the billboard, but if I mention race in a song, I'm scared I'll get killed for it. It's backwards, it's getting exponentially dumb. It's more difficult to get a job than purchase a gun. Eminem used to gay bash and murder his mom, and now he doesn't want fans if they voted for Trump. We're ashamed to be American. You should probably love it, cause you have the right to hate it and not get stoned to death in public. As children we were taught how to walk and talk, but the system wants adults to sit down and shut up. Cancel culture runs the world now, the planet went crazy. Label everything we say as homophobic or racist. If you're white, then you're privileged, guilty by association. All our childhood heroes got Me Too'd or they're rapists. They never freed the slaves. They realized that they don't need to change. They gave us tiny screens, we think we free cause we can't see the cage. They knew that race war would be the game they need to play. For people to big teams, they use the media to feed the flame.
They so fake woke. Facts don't care about feelings. They know.
Welcome to the next episode of Conservative Parents with Liberal Kids, now known as the Whiskey Rebellion. I passed the Facebook test by changing the name, but they wouldn't give me an A+. They gave me a B-, I think, when I tried. Anyway, I kind of let in with that previously before the show started in the background on Facebook Live. This is the Whiskey Rebellion, really.
It really is.
It really is. Jason Ricardo, my co-host, is not here today. He's going to be sorely missed. But he is the inspiration for this show, because we once talked a couple of weeks ago about doing a show on cancel culture. Since he's canceled for this show, I'll do a little bit of that. Serge,
what's up?
Do you believe in cancel culture?
Absolutely.
What is it in your mind?
Bunch of people getting mad, and they use their power of the internet to ruin people's lives. Some deserving, some not.
Well, who gets to decide that? Who's deserving of being canceled?
No idea. I only agree or disagree with them, bro.
Well, sometimes you look at it and you're like, oh, that guy deserved it.
Yeah.
Can you think of an example? What about Pepe Le Pew today?
No, he doesn't. He was only being himself.
Oh, my God. When I saw that today, I was like, what the F? When I was...
It was a ruined opportunity.
Before you were born, I used to watch that.
Yeah.
I mean, like when I was a little kid, right? Saturday morning cartoons.
We all used to watch that.
You were watching reruns. I was watching it live.
Yeah, you were watching the debut episode.
Right. Oh, my God. So Pepe Le Pew was so overzealous.
Very touchy-feely.
Very touchy-feeling on the female that he wanted. What was her name?
It was a cat.
Yeah, it was a cat.
But then sometimes it got like...
Because it looked like a skunk, because it had a stripe on her back.
Sometimes it had the paint. The paint went down its back.
Right. And he was very overly aggressive. Yes. He was like, right, like a French lover.
Kissing the arm, going all the way up to the neck.
Right, exactly.
Totally unwanted. Inside your bubble.
Yes,
no
but it was showing what not to do.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
Right. So this is what I'm... All right. So, but suddenly, because this character was going to be used in Space Jam 2.
Yep.
I guess, coming out soon. And they had to cut out all the scenes involving Pepe Le Pew.
Did you hear the scene that they had planned?
No. I want you to tell me that in a minute, because I was going to ask you, like, what was it? Okay, tell me in a second. But they cut Pepe Le Pew's character out of the movie because it was too close to representing rape culture. What is rape culture?
I guess...
People who are rapey.
Yeah, people who are very aggressively in your...
People who would be willing to drop a drug into your drink.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what Pepe Le Pew represented, right? This cartoon character from 70 years ago. It's crazy. No, so what was it? What was the scene they were cutting out?
From what I saw, he got creepy with someone, and LeBron was like, no, don't do that.
Well, that's the point, right?
You would think so.
Right?
If you want to address the problem, absolutely. But it seems like people are a lot more about trying to cancel the problem, cancel the person, instead of saying, hey, you're screwing up, you should probably stop that. They're just like, no, let's just completely get rid of them. Because, completely
what's
ignoring the problem makes it go away.
But what's the side effect of canceling it? We spend a week talking about this new story.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like the Dr. Seuss thing.
Yeah.
They're making record sales off the books that are no longer in print.
I know, exactly. I don't know, but this is not going to stop.
No, never.
And, I guess the reason why I get sensitive to it is because anyone who was associated, then we go back to politics real quick, associated with our former president, even if you voted for him, even if you casted a vote because you're just participating in our democracy, you're now canceled for some people, some businesses.
Yeah.
And I don't know where the line.
I got a feeling that the same people that are going out of their way to cancel Pepe Le Pew are not going to say anything to Joe Biden for doing the same thing.
So what did he do?
You never see Joe Biden's creepy videos where he's just sniffing women?
Oh, no, of course I have.
Yeah.
Of course I have. But he gets a pass because he's on the. He's
not a cartoon skunk.
Right. No, but they even canceled the cartoon skunk now.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. Where are we going with this? Oh my God. So did you? By the way, segue. You mentioned our current president.
Yeah.
Did you see what he had a small press conference today where he had to introduce two women military officers who were being promoted to, I guess, some lofty positions, and now they're considered like combat chiefs or whatever, and it's unprecedented, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
and I have no problem with it. But he's trying to announce the selection by the Secretary of Defense, and he couldn't remember the Secretary of Defense's name or the name of the Pentagon. And it's a 25-second clip, and you can see him stammer, and then he goes, the guy that runs that thing over there. Something along those lines.
So what?
What?
So what?
He's our president.
I forget stuff all the time. Maybe Joe's back there hitting the blunt before he comes out. Trump was doing blow. I mean, it's okay. Trump and his whole...
All right, so let me ask you this very simple question, because I take politics seriously.
Well, I know. I stopped taking it serious a long time ago.
But do you have no concerns as an American that we're projecting weakness like this? Like we got...
Nobody knows. Everybody knows better to mess with us. Period.
Really?
It doesn't matter who's in charge.
Really?
Yeah. If anything, they're probably more scared that Sleepy's in office because they've seen he's already dropping bombs.
Come on. All right.
I remember back when the Republicans used to be the bomb countries party.
Back when I used to salivate over it.
now it's just like, no, what is he doing?
No. Well, remember, my next T-shirt, my next hat is going to be Acquittal 2025.
I think the new slogan for the next one, I think they released it. It's Take Back America.
Really?
I think so.
I love it already.
I saw a shirt, and I was like, is that what we're going to go with? Because that makes 100%.
Not that I wanted to go there immediately with this show.
I think that's what they're doing.
But my idea after the election, when Trump lost, I said he should, from day one, on January 20th, just announce he's a candidate. And and just do your freaking...
thing for the next 3 years.
Yes. Do your rallies.
Yeah.
Just keep doing speeches and rallies and rallies and rallies.
I think he's letting Joe have 1 year. Normally they do it after
Joe's not making it a year.
Normally they do it after 2 years, two and a half.
Do you want to make a side bet?
That he won't make it?
He won't make it a year.
Yeah, he will. He's
either he'll I don't want to say he'll die.
No, he's not going to die, man.
Either he'll die.
Come on, he's not the oldest president of all time.
No, but
isn't Trump older?
He's in that window.
Isn't Trump older?
Is he?
I think so.
No.
Let's check it out.
I think Biden's 2 years older.
Because Trump is super old.
Biden's 78. I think Trump's 76.
Let's check it out.
But it doesn't really matter. The point I'm making is that I think at some point he's just going to say, Kamala has it. And then we'll be really screwed.
Donald Trump is 74.
Yeah, so in...
Joe Biden is
78,
78.
Right? 78.
Yeah. Nancy Pelosi's 80? Jeez.
Yeah. These are the people that keep getting reelected. Wow. Anyway, so you want to comment on Potato Head, formerly known as Mr.
No, it's
Potato
still
Head?
Mr. Potato. Mr. Potato.
Oh, they went back?
Yeah,
on
they
it.
decided we're not going to do that.
So there's some sanity left
Yeah.
among those making toys for
because
kids.
if you got to think about this, it's going to hurt their bottom line.
When
If
it's
you
all
got to
about
stop
money.
making a Mrs. Potato Head and just have one potato,
You're right. You're right.
we're just going to include all the eyes with the lipstick and all the hair. We'll be just in one big box. No, they can't make money that way.
Yeah.
You got to have
Okay.
two separate.
All right, so what do you think? I'm just going to randomly think of things that are cancel culture-ish. You know, like well, first, if we define cancel culture as including people who go back like 10, 15 years on social media and find something you said that could potentially be offensive today that would not have even raised an eyebrow
Yeah.
10 or 15 years ago.
It's stupid.
That part's really stupid, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when like was it like a year or two ago, Kevin Hart was supposed to host the Oscars, and he had like they claimed to be a homophobic tweet, but it was basically saying I won't let my kid be gay or something like that,
Yeah.
something along those lines. Okay, and then he couldn't host the Oscars. Do you think something from long ago like that, even if it's
I
slightly
think stuff
offensive,
you said a long time ago shouldn't matter.
so this should be there some
Unless it's some like super ridiculously offensive something like, some racist stuff.
or like the Holocaust was
Yeah,
great.
Holocaust
was
jokes,
awesome. Right.
like stuff like that.
All right, so there were things
Although
that
I shouldn't say that because I'm pretty sure I've made a few Holocaust jokes.
But
since my days.
this raises an interesting
Yeah.
point because when you're comedic,
Yeah,
right? The whole point is to be irreverent and push the envelope.
yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
right? So a lot of that humor, whatever he's posting on Twitter, is meant to be.
That's
in there.
why
Right?
I'm surprised Eddie Murphy made it this far.
What did he do?
Have you seen Raw? His stand-up
Yes,
from
yes.
the 1980s?
Yes. I even went to the movie. Remember he came out with the movie? Yeah.
That would not at all go today.
No, you couldn't put the movie, the show.
I'm surprised.
Archie
The
Bunker.
Simpsons-
What was the name of the show?
Oh, All in the Family.
All in the Family. Imagine that today.
Yeah, but that was more social commentary on the show.
Yeah, but
than it
now
was.
we're hypersensitive now that
Yeah.
if you had anyone saying something like the word "kike" on TV
Yeah.
or whatever, like
Oh no,
right, even if it's meant to be making fun of the people who say those things,
exactly.
it just couldn't be tolerated today.
Yeah, no, we're in a weird place. Hopefully, we balance back out eventually.
You know, I keep thinking that, like where
I think it'll go back.
I hope we're that big of a nation that I think sometimes we're like a pendulum. We get to the extremes sometimes, but
Yeah.
we don't spend all our time in the
We just get there and come back.
Right. So hopefully we're in that
Yeah,
spot
'cause I
where we're just
remember
swinging
when-
on the outside.
Eminem was this big thing they were trying to cancel back in the 90s.
Remind me of that.
Yeah, that, and they tried to do it again last week. And Eminem's like, "All right, I'll release a song how about you guys are trying to cancel me." That's the best part is like when you don't care and don't even co-sign of what they're saying, they can't
Right.
touch you.
Right.
You're like, "All right, you
Right.
guys can be mad."
That's the other part. That's the flip side of this cancel culture is the chilling of the speech. When you're like, I don't want to go put myself out there and be subject to this ridicule and have to go on an apology tour and all this
Not
other
me,
stuff.
man. I'll never
No,
apologize.
right, but why aren't more people saying, well, fuck it?
Because too many people care about what other people think. You're not truly happy on this existence that we call life until you realize that what everybody else thinks don't matter. And as soon as you can live like that, I mean, look at me, my beard, dude. My mom constantly tells me I need to shave. That's ugly. What are you doing? I'm like, I don't care what you think. I don't care if I don't care
Don't cancel
what
me,
my mom.
Mom, don't cancel
If
me.
I don't care what my mom thinks about how I
Right.
look.
Then you can take that attitude anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And that's how it should be. Like, you shouldn't care about it.
But this is what
long as I'm
this
happy.
is what befuddles me, Serge.
Yeah.
When you get like a celebrity that's got a lot of power or influence or money, whatever it is you want to say, and these anonymous Twitter motherfuckers come
Yeah,
out.
just come out of nowhere.
And then they go on this apology tour, like,
because some of them have
because
big-
their revenue stream is based on
Yeah.
clicks.
on somebody else's,
Right.
Or if they're getting a check.
But
from
if
a
they were brave and said fuck, like had the fuck you attitude,
Exactly.
they might actually get more fans.
exactly,
But I don't understand why no one's doing that.
because they're scared.
But it's irrational.
Yeah, but that's not everybody thinks like us. A lot of people care about how the public sees them.
I know.
I'm
You
not
know,
one of
if Gino's listening at all, this kind of dovetails into like people who just wear the mask because they don't want to be ridiculed.
Yeah,
Right? It's like it's just not worth the fight.
yeah.
Right? So, but there needs to be a lot more brave people out there, I think. But I'm one of the weak ones when it comes to the mask, by the way. I just don't want to be in a restaurant where someone's
I don't wear
doing
it. I don't wear a mask because, oh no, what are people going to think? I wear a mask because if somebody in here has got something, and
So-
there's a
so you
chance
have-
I might get it, I don't want it. So
Okay.
that's why. And if I somehow am carrying it, I don't want to give it to them. That's simple. It's like looking out for the next person. How hard is
But
that?
this is where
concept,
Gino comes
right?
in. But look, in reality, we know masks, like if you study it, the mask, like a single mask, is like 30% effective. And so every third time you're going out someplace, it's doing you no good.
If
on
you're-
average,
if,
right?
If you're in the face of somebody who has corona, and I don't know where they get these studies from, because you know damn well there's nobody out there doing 100-person study. Okay, you guys all come in. He has Rona, and then 4 times later we see who has Rona and who doesn't. The numbers that are being thrown around are just somebody's opinion. That's all it is.
Serge, don't impugn the studies, man.
just
I'm
saying.
sure they're very scientific and well
Yeah, right.
done.
I've heard people say, "Oh my God, if you wear a mask for longer than 4 hours, your oxygen get cut off." No, it doesn't, because people do surgery for 10 hours. So don't tell me that these surgeons, some of the most brilliant people on the planet, somehow made it this long without losing their brain cells. Stop.
Things that make you go,
People just don't want to be told what to do. That's all it is. That's all it is.
But all right, I know we're shifting.
And most of the time, there are people being told what to do don't care about how other people feel.
Let me ask you this, because Gino was prolific on Facebook with these rants that are
Oh, of
great.
course.
They're awesome, right? When you read them, do you go, Do you believe in it?
No, that's my boy, so I don't.
Okay,
I
I
know
know,
why
I know
he's
that.
doing it.
Okay, is it? Why don't you? I don't want you. Because I think he genuinely believes this stuff.
Yeah, no,
but
Gino
he's also
does not-
he's
you're
also
not-
generating a lot
You're
of
not
talk.
telling Gino what to do.
Right.
Gino's
Okay.
that type of person. He's gonna do what he wants, and I don't care if there's an army outside telling me to put this mask on. You can kiss my ass. I'm in my own house.
Okay. You know, by the way, I found it amusing that the CDC came out with new guidelines after the vaccinations, and they.
Oh, you saw that?
The guideline they came out with is now you don't have to wear masks inside your house.
Yeah. Who was wearing?
Who's wearing masks
inside
inside your house?
anyway?
I almost lost it when I read that.
I think it said you don't have to wear masks if you're in the house with somebody who's had the vaccine. So they're talking
Right.
about before, if you go to visit somebody and they haven't had it, it's smart to wear a mask. That's all they're saying.
Okay.
But I'm not going to say that, because I was going to say nobody's actually sitting at home with a mask on. There are people that I've seen walking outside by themselves in broad daylight with masks on. Like, why are you? But never mind.
All right, wait. I'm going to segue into that for a moment.
Yeah.
Because you brought me there. I work in Ybor City, right? So I sometimes can't find a space within a block or two of my office. And I know that if I don't put on my mask walking into it's a shared space, it's a whole floor, a bunch of professionals in there. If I don't walk into the office with it on, I'll be reminded this is our policy, make sure, I don't want to go through that.
Yeah. If
Stupid
it's their policy,
Right,
obviously
right.
you have to do.
So the moment I remember I need to wear the mask, I'll put it on because I'll forget to put it on.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes I remember when I'm a block or 2 blocks away. So I'm walking down the city street all by myself and I got the mask on. So I give the benefit of the doubt sometimes when I see somebody thinking, oh, he's just being me because he just remembered he doesn't want to forget to have it on when he walks into the building. There are other times where I'm watching somebody who's driving and he's got his mask on for like
In the car.
like 50 miles on a highway, like
By
who-
themselves.
By themselves. I don't know. I just hope that we're not a society that, like, after the pandemic really passes or it's really waning, and we got herd immunity, and it's like few cases are being reported, that we're in the habit of like now you should wear it to prevent the next pandemic kind of
No,
thing.
that's what they're going to do that. There's going to be mad pandemics now. Now that they know they can get away with getting people to conform the way they did.
Well, that's Gino's point,
That's what, yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's about control. It's about control. But it's also about safety and health. But it's more about control.
Yeah,
Because we saw
this is-
Florida.
This is where I make it political, okay? In general, Surgeon General,
Well played.
the red states, the Republican governors, the conservative governors who are controlling their states are more in favor of the freedom and letting people choose and assess the risks. So I think when you are at the end of a pandemic, those who are blue governors, who are Democratic, they don't want to lose control over their populace versus those who are Republicans who believe that the power lies with the people. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I mean, it all depends on who it's up to.
I mean, we live in Florida.
Yeah.
Look, think about how open our society is during
I
this
already know.
pandemic.
We were the first state open.
And on a per capita basis, we're pretty low when
Yeah,
it comes to
from
cases.
what I've been hearing, yeah.
Right? So, did lockdowns work then for other states? If they're shutting down their society and they're still at the same rate or worse rate than us, so I'm just saying, why don't we just decide on freedom and power with the people? I don't get why it escalates. Well, you got control over you were mentioning control over the populace. It's like a drug to certain leaders. This is what I can do to my populace. And if I let go of that, am I ever going to get it back? But where did they get the framework to think that they should have that power in the first place? Surge.
No idea.
Well, I don't want to be in those states, so I'm going to stay right here in Florida.
Yeah, we're good where we're at.
All right, so do you have any moral dilemmas?
No, I sure don't. I can see if I can find some, though.
Let's go there. Since all the people who said they would call in are not calling in.
Yeah.
Can
Star's
I
not
help
calling
you?
in?
Star's not calling in. Amanda from my office, you said you'd call in. B
hasn't called
B
in.
as in, I can't give out names.
No,
just
you
a
have to
first name?
You have to go with whatever they want to be called.
B.
Unless you're trying to force yourself on someone else.
I don't do that. That's very rape culture.
You try.
That's
Like, I know you want to be called this, but I'm calling you that. That's America for you right there in a nutshell.
all right. Moral dilemma. Help me out, sir. We got to fill some time, right?
Let's see what we got.
While you're looking that up, I'm going to give. I'm just reading random examples of cancel culture. So when you hear the name Mike Lindell, who is that?
That's the pillow guy.
The My Pillow guy.
Because he's retarded.
The CEO of My Pillow said his company was ditched by 20 retailers after he publicly questioned the electoral results in 2020.
And?
Fair or not fair?
Fair.
Okay.
Who are you going to tell me, like, if you say something outlandish, I'm supposed to be like, no, that's okay. I'll keep giving you my money.
Well, isn't it well accepted that the election was stolen? Just kidding.
Not at all. In some little smack.
No one, please,
tiny
no one
sect of the
boycott my
United
practice
States.
right now. Okay. All right. Chris Harrison, wasn't he the host of The Bachelor?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah. All right, so
What did he do?
the longtime host of ABC's The Bachelor franchise decided to step aside after defending current contestant Rachel Kirkconnell when old photos surfaced of her attending an Old South antebellum party. So I'll read the rest of the blurb. While I do not speak for Rachel Kirkconnell, My intentions were simply to ask for grace in offering her an opportunity to speak on her own behalf, Harrison explained. What I now realize I have done is cause harm by wrongly speaking in a manner that perpetuates racism. And for that, I'm so deeply sorry. So he defends a contestant of having been involved in an antebellum party, which is like an Old South segregationist kind of party.
Okay.
All right? That's all he did. He wasn't there. He wasn't...
Oh, he wasn't there?
Right? Well, it says, after defending... Well, I don't know. But it says, after defending current contestant Rachel Kirkconnell, when old photos surfaced of her attending an Old South antebellum party. So he defended her attending it for whatever reason. And now he can no longer... How long has The Bachelor been on? 20 years?
I guess.
Like forever, right? So he can no longer host the show.
Well, gotta know what to say.
But if someone, I mean, like if it's 20 years ago, someone attended a party, it's like, oh, I get it. They attended a party 20 years ago. Now, today, you can't even do the show. You weren't even part of the party. This is crazy to me. Okay.
It's ABC for you.
J.K. Rowling, the famous author of Harry Potter series, faced backlash for voicing her fears that the push for transgender rights will ultimately endanger women's rights. All right, so what do you think? By the way, that's a great subject. We should make it a whole other show.
Yeah.
What do you think of transgender women who are biological men competing against women in sports?
I think that's horrible.
And why?
Because men have muscle mass, bone density.
So you
physically stronger,
recognize
testosterone.
God-given
Yeah.
physiological differences, irrespective of maybe your brain says you
Yeah.
feel like a woman and you make
Absolutely.
the change, right? Okay. But why is it that the left, generally, you know what I mean by the left, I'm not trying to be disparaging, but the left believes that that's discrimination and therefore they must participate in women's
No,
sports?
not at all.
Okay, well, you're not in that camp.
That's all I'm saying. No.
Okay. But Biden, so you don't agree with Biden signing an executive order saying that they must be allowed to compete?
No.
Okay, good. I'm proud
I'm
of
the
you,
type
sir.
of person I'm like, if just give them a league. How hard is that?
How about Gina Carano? You heard about that? The Mandalorian chick?
I didn't hear the whole story.
Well, I'm just going to read from this. It says, the Mandalorian actress was fired by Disney after posting on social media that being Republican in 2021 was similar to being Jewish during Nazi Germany. Her Hollywood agent dropped her, and Hasbro scrapped her Star Wars action figures. Fair?
She compared what to the whole?
Being Republican was similar to being Jewish during Nazi Germany.
Not at all.
I think that's, you
can't make unfair comparisons like
well,
that.
maybe it's an unfair comparison, but do you know sometimes you make a political point by making an absurd analogy. It's like making a satirical point in a way. It's like you guys are so overboard. You're so hating on Republicans so much without any basis other than being Republican. Anyway, do you think it's right to cancel like multi-million-dollar contracts and drop her from Disney?
If they want.
All right.
If they're the people paying.
Power of the public.
Yep.
So this is where a lot of the distinctions made. It's like, okay, it's just, again, it's a matter of the public weighing in and not the government weighing in, right? It's not
Exactly.
So it's free speech issue where other people's free speech hating on what you did outvotes, if you will, what may have been a minor transgression.
Yep.
From years ago.
If enough people get together, well, enough people that have money get together.
But it's only because social media and exists that you can gang up so much.
Exactly.
And it's a media, it's a revenue stream, social media, for tons of people. So you're just destroying lives. Like you said at the beginning, cancel culture, the purpose is to destroy the
Exactly.
person's life. Because of what you perceive as offensive. You live in the First Amendment arena, being in the radio and music industry and all that, right? So you should always be on the side of non-cancel culture.
I'm
always,
on the
like 100%
side
of the time.
People doing what they want to do. If you say something that gets somebody upset and they don't want to sponsor you, that's
Do you
their
think
choice.
there's anything you put on social media that could be deemed so offensive now that they can say Flo Higher Radio should be off the air?
They can say it all they want.
No, I mean, do you think it would be right for them to say it?
If they're offended by something I say, and that's how they genuinely
And they
feel.
campaign successfully enough
Yeah.
on social media to put you out of business, you'd be like, that's the way it works.
No, I'll just say you could try to put me out of business. I run this. You can't. You could listen. I've already had people try to cancel me, and as we can tell, I'm still here. So I ain't worried about.
You know what? I'm
cancel
glad you
culture.
are. You've given me, a platform
Yeah,
to talk to a couple of
I'm
people
not
a week.
worried about. Listen, you can't cancel me. The only way you cancel me is if I decide I don't want to do this anymore, and then that's when it's canceled. And even then, it won't be canceled because I'll just put somebody in charge who wants to do it. You never can cancel anything unless I say so.
Well, but so there are too many, lack of a better word, like pussies who just cave in to the woke mob.
There's people that are employees and there's people that are bosses. There's a difference. You can't cancel a boss.
Well, can you cancel George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Thomas Jefferson?
Of course not. They're
Well,
presidents.
number 8 on this list.
They're presidents. What are you going to do?
The former U.S. presidents' names have been wiped from San Francisco public schools after the school board unanimously decided to rename 44 schools that had ties to racism and dishonorable legacies based on George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Thomas Jefferson.
What did Abraham Lincoln do?
I guess he wasn't strongly enough in favor of ending slavery. What? I don't. But that's what it says here.
Hey, that's how it goes
So
back
schools in San Francisco can't have Lincoln in it.
then. If that's what they want to do.
So that's also free speech, right? That's how you see it, I guess.
I mean, whoever's paying for the naming rights to the school calls all the shots.
Well, the school board decides that, and you've elected the school board, so I guess you get what you elected, right?
Exactly.
All right, so vote him out of office and get Lincoln back on the schools, right?
There you go.
That's how you work democracy.
That's how it works.
All right.
Or just go in their background, find something that you're offended by, get enough people to agree with you, and then cancel them.
I would love a tit-for-tat society. That's just great. Let's just be, you did it to me, I'll do it to you. That's great. Serge, I love you like a brother. We shouldn't be like that in society. Do you know do you know the product called Goya Foods?
Yeah, of course. Come on. Look at me.
So what? Do you remember they were mired in controversy
They
for a
said,
while?
what about Johnny Depp?
Who's
He
writing
was
it?
dropped based on false allegations.
Dropped from where?
A bunch of movies in Hollywood.
On false allegations of what?
Yeah. His ex said he used to beat her, all kinds of stuff. And it turns out she was doing that to him. And it was actually, she just got fired from Aquaman 2 a week and a half ago. So it took up until now for them to finally say, yeah, no, we got to get you out of here. Even though everybody has known for over a year that she was the one that was abusing Johnny Depp and he still hasn't got a job yet.
All right, so I'm making a distinction in that scenario because that's a matter of whether or not he was abusive or not abusive to someone else
Yeah.
versus a political view. Right? Just having an opinion on something.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that different?
Having an opinion, yeah. I can
So,
see you can't
I can see when you want to derive a campaign against, I need to prove my case in court about him being abusive, so I'm just going to generate a bunch of this shit so that he doesn't want to litigate it, right?
Yeah.
People do that. That's different than, I just have a free speech opinion about my political belief, and since it's no longer popular, so-called popular, we're going to get a ton of people on the internet to quash you and cancel you.
That's why you got to get a ton of people that agree with you and just have an online war. Whoever
Let's
comes
bring it
out
on.
on top
Bring it on.
doesn't make any sense. That's why I don't pay attention to any of that.
Hey, you know what we ought to do? We ought to take like a 3-minute break, play a song, whoever
some
you want to
Gino.
play, and we're going to come up with some moral dilemmas. Yeah, play some Gino.
Yeah, let me see what I can find. I got to load it up. Let's see. Yeah, because it's crazy. And I try not to get too involved in it because it's annoying.
I just think we're living in a world where if you have the mind, I don't even think you can be offended anymore, genuinely. People just say I'm offended so they can wield power.
I didn't know that we were catering to people for feeling offended.
Well, that's the thing. That's what's happening now. Like, you say something that they claim offends you. It no longer fits their view of the world, and it's offensive, and therefore you deserve to be ostracized and canceled or destroyed. What happened to, like... Oh, changing subjects. Just occurred to me. Did you see the video of this lady that went into, like this Asian restaurant, and they were making this kind of like tea, and she thought the tea originated in Africa, and they were misappropriating African culture? Did you see this?
No, I missed it.
So she goes into this, it's basically an Asian restaurant. And she orders this tea, and she starts screaming about how this is not an African-owned business, you're not allowed to sell it, you shouldn't be selling this, this is an African drink, and it should be a minority-owned business, a black-owned business, you're not a black-owned business, and blah, blah, blah. And all the while, there's a black guy standing next to her, and he goes, I like it.
I'm over here hitting the wrong buttons.
Oh, man. All right.
Look at me.
Moral dilemmas.
All right, I'm gonna throw this Gino Lexus track on. We'll be right back.
Cool, Gino.
My whole thing is all screwed up. Look at me messing up. Look.
What y'all doing? A word? I tell? Man, I'm still unpacking, dog. What you want me to tell you? What? I don't know about all that, but I'll tell you a little something else. I'll tell you, what's been going on. Give you a little update, But you already know. CG, I teach dreams. I tell the crowd, put their hands up, they out of reach. See, way before the scene of me, rip them shows. Walmart clothes, how may I help you? Pushing cars through the door, ride in the cold, overheat, side of the road, hide in the drove, pulls over. Then proceed to help me push my car to the shoulder. I'm just grateful he didn't shoot me with what's in his holster. Oh, man. I'm for real, dog. I need to get a new car. Out my mind, what? Nah, Gino on a Rolls Royce. From the fetal to adults, I'm your voice. So moist, my eyes get watching projects. Nothing compared to the kids on the islands with no parents, no place to eat. Scared to sleep cause rapists run the streets and you expect me to be sweet. Cavities are killing me. Grown man, no time for games. Why you kidding me? Subliminal races always try grilling me, but they never do it to my face, so I'm chilling. Shout out to Hillary Clinton. Carry more balls than a lot of rap dudes I can mention. What you mean? What I mean? How much time you got? Cause I lose blessings when I stand in one spot. You try to knock me for a comment on Facebook, you stay shook. Meantime, I'm out of state making great hooks. Yes, right here is great. Thank you. Yeah, Ben. Yo, Nelson and Prince Street. Port of Spain, Trinidad, where my friends get. Lent me anything, everybody king and queens. Together we aspire, together we achieve. Riding in the backseat, bumping out black street. Till I got stopped by police with C-Taxi. Catch me if you can, headed out to Carenage, picking up Ryan. Where the gangsters been at large, in the lodge where I purchased a beef pie. For the street, soccer players exercise with knee highs. And we back at Rochelle's, dance to Michelle's. God bless your souls for always keeping us well. The internet failed when I checked my emails, but it was enough just to get my family details. And of course I eat well with a male and female. Dog up the mountain where I puff my free L's. I don't know if they understand. Yes, I did. Dog, I ain't paid for not one lick Mary Jane, dog. But from the gutter to the top, I'm never gonna stop. Earn what I got. Got my daily hustle from the block. Haters on the block. Yes, man, always on your job. Always saying what you think you are when you know you're not. From the gutter to the top, I'm never gonna stop. Earn what I got. Got my daily hustle from the block. Haters on the block. Yes, man, always on your job. Always saying what they think you are when you know you're not.
The other day about the whole cancel culture thing. I want to get to that conversation.
All right, let's hear your thoughts.
Hey, are you guys still playing music right now?
Yeah.
No, we're in.
We're in? Oh, okay.
Tell us how you feel.
How I feel?
First of all, caller, who are you, caller?
Right, tell us who you are.
This is one part of Cover 2 Conversations on every Saturday. Whenever we get into the studio, we make times up between 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock every Saturday. And, we actually brought this up for a few minutes last week because we were talking about, this is Reggie. We were talking last week about the Dr. Seuss quote-unquote cancellation, which was not a fucking cancellation. Total bullshit.
Yeah, it was.
What it was, to make it clear, is the people that published Dr. Seuss, out of all the books, they found 5 or 6 books that they thought were offensive. They removed those 6 books. You can still get the books. You can still read Dr. Seuss. There's 5 or 6 books out of 40. And it's pure capitalism because they did it think, you know what? If we move these out, we look good to the public, and that helps their book sales. I think, and I got to look online where I saw that, man, Dr. Seuss book sales went up, bro. Because they were in the news about this shit.
Okay, can I
go ahead, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut off.
No, that's all right. Can I challenge
Do you want something? Let me
Sure.
Let me challenge you.
Do it while I'm still sober.
All right. Why did they, in any way, shape, or form, decide to engage in a review of things?
Can you repeat that, please?
Why did the publishing, I guess it's the estate of Dr. Seuss, really, that owns the company, right?
The phone's kind of breaking up. You said, why did they do it in the first place?
Yeah, why did they engage in the review of any of their publications in the first place?
I don't know what initiated it, but I can tell you this, and this is where I think a cultural difference comes in. Some of those books I saw growing up as a kid, I thought looked kind of jacked up, but I couldn't put it into words as a kid. The older I got, I could tell how jacked up they were. So I don't know maybe there was somebody on their board or something, like, hey, look, you guys need to take a look at this. Maybe they're more aware now, or maybe they got ahead of the train before, got ahead of the story, but before they quote unquote got called out. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
But once you see the books, and I'm like, oh, I saw that years ago. I saw that when I was 10 years old. It was obvious to me, maybe not to other people, but to other black folks and minorities. To us, it was. And I think what the big thing is, it's a cultural difference. Because I hate using the whole race thing. I prefer going with cultural difference. And I don't think if it really affects you personally, culturally, you're just not going to get it. You just won't get it. Now, of course, there'll be some more people that'll be more sensitive to it than others. Like, for example, if they didn't remove the 5 or 6 books, would I have been upset? No. But I'm glad they did. It didn't bother me at all. Because I think they did something very positive because they were trying to help remove negative stereotypes that went from the 20s and 30s or whatever those damn books were written at. Right. And they were very bad stereotypes. Even if you go back to the early Bugs Bunny, Warner Brothers cartoons, they were bad.
All right, I'm going to dig deeper. I actually understand and agree with what you just said, but there's another level to it because Dr. Seuss himself, I think, by all accounts, was not a person that exhibited any superiority to any race or desired that. So is it possible that this was an example of hypersensitivity to today's standards? Like, we understand that there are racial stereotypes that have been brought along through the generations. I get it. But I don't think he personally, the author of these books had that in mind when he was writing it. And his purpose was basically to teach lessons to children of all races of how to treat each other. I mean, if you look at the lessons behind it, it's certainly not of one where he believes one race is superior to another or one type of person is superior to another. It's actually the opposite message coming through all those books.
No. That's why I'm going to push back on that.
Okay.
Just because that may not have been his intent, just his view on the world, it came through in the books. So in his mindset, he like, I'm teaching great lessons to kids, and this is how I see the world. Well, the way he sees the world, he's seeing blacks and Asians a certain way that Asians and blacks don't see themselves. Now, I'm not saying he's sitting back diabolically part of the Klan or some Aryan nation doing it on purpose. But someone needed to sit him down, like, dude, that point of view or stereotype that you have of us is not a good stereotype. And again,
all right, but this is where I think it's dangerous. We're going to end up talking over each other. I'm sorry about that, but the pushback I'll give to your pushback is that the danger of, and I in the situation with Dr. Seuss, it's different because it was an internal review, and I get that's different. But when someone says, "Okay, I'm going to apply today's standards to something that occurred 100 years ago," and the people, we can agree today that maybe a standard that occurred 100 years ago is deplorable. But those people who were doing it 100 years ago were just in their own culture doing their own thing without any intent to harm anybody. Much of it.
I agree. Okay,
so when you start saying we need to wipe that out from today's society, then you're losing historical context to a lot of things.
No, you're not. No, that's BS. No, it's not. It's the same thing with the Confederate statues. No one's saying destroy the statues. What we're saying is they tried to overthrow the freaking government. They were traitors. You can have the statues. You can celebrate it in a museum, not on federal taxpayer on land. You can. We're not saying destroy the statues. We're saying put them someplace in a Confederate museum where it's paid for. That way. That's all we're saying. No one's
but
saying
when it comes to saying destroying or otherwise toppling, like Thomas Jefferson statutes, which we know, we go into the whole history that he owned slaves too, but he's one of our founding fathers and represented the freedom of this country. So what do you believe those should be moved to, like, just by the power of the woke mob, be moved to a museum?
On those, but I believe. And this is where I think the entire if you want to get rid of Black History Month, then you have to fix American history the way it's written. And what they need to do is stop with the George Washington cut down a cherry tree and all that crap. What they should do, along with Thomas Jefferson, throw in there that he owned slaves. Throw in there that he had an affair with a 13-year-old girl, Sally Heming, who was a slave, who was the half-sister of his wife, who died. Put all that in the history books. Put it in context. Also, put it in context that he had kids with her, and would not free the kids until he died.
Well, this is the interesting thing, because I knew all those facts. I just don't think they're stressed at school, because when you're trying to, I guess, educate the masses, you're trying to say to them, these are like side stories, but we're going to focus on his role in civics. That's the lessons you're learning in school. You're not learning.
No.
You don't.
No, and your phone's kind of breaking up, so I do apologize for cutting you off. No, I'm not saying focus on that, but I'm saying make that part of the story, because if you know all this information, but the average person does not. And if I bring it up to them, they're like, "No, that's not true. Oh no, that's not really. Come on, really." This should be part of American history. Part of every class American freaking history. And the only thing you get is the you get slavery with Abraham Lincoln, Civil War. Fast forward, Martin Luther King, and civil rights.
But we understand that great historical figures are fallible human beings, right?
We agree on that one.
Okay, so when you are trying to convey history accurately, I get what you're saying, because you want the whole picture to come in. On the other hand, we don't want to create the slippery slope where this historical figure that has played a prominent role in the forming of our country or formulating good policy for our country, who may have done some horrible things during his life, the horrible things end up controlling the narrative, and then we cancel that from the curriculum. For example, we're no longer going to learn about Thomas Jefferson because he once owned slaves. He's unworthy to teach kids about the overall person Thomas Jefferson was, because he owned slaves. That's the danger of this cancel culture.
I don't think it's a danger, because the whole thing about lack of freedom of speech, until there's some law put in place, there's no lack of freedom of speech. Now, I do see what you're saying right here, and I wish Mike was on the phone, because Mike has a better idea of history than I do. He's real. There'd be a great conversation with him. But I will say is, you're concerned about, well, if we even not bring up, but even talk about slavery and him and Sally Heming, that it's going to be in the book and they'll take him out of the history book. No, what I'm saying is it needs to be like if you do a biography of the presidents. I think it should be known that the first 12 or 13 presidents, maybe 14, well, no, first 12, most of them were slave owners. It's never brought up, and I think it's part of American history. Now, am I saying do a whole focus slavery? Oh, by the way, he's first president. Slavery. He's second. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying intertwine it in with the story.
I don't dispute that the whole picture should be presented. I agree with you there. The problem is there's a large portion, it's still probably a minority, but a large enough portion of people that wield enough power to say, you know what, I'm going to put pressure on school boards to make sure that there's no mention of Thomas Jefferson in what do you call the books at school? The
history.
No. I forget. Whatever the books there's a name for it. It's skipping my brain right now.
I can't remember right now. I'm buzzing.
Textbooks.
Textbook, yeah.
Take it out of the textbooks, okay? Because he's unworthy of consideration if he owns slaves. This is the slippery slope that we're in this society today, where that shit's starting to happen, and I'm like, okay, well, we're getting real close to it. You don't agree?
No, we're not.
When you have the school board, I just brought this up, and maybe you heard it. Maybe that's what prompted your call. When you've got a whole school board, like in a very liberal city like San Francisco, say, we're not going to allow Washington, Lincoln, and Jefferson to be named on schools. They're going to remove them, and we're not going to allow it going into the future because they're unworthy of being on federal land because they once did something bad, even though of all the good they've done.
That does, and again, we're going to see different opinions on this. A school board deciding to change the name of a school does not bother me at all. Now, if you start getting into the actual text and history books, we're on the same page. I agree with that. But changing the name of a freaking school or changing the name of a Air Force base or a ship, I don't give two shits about it. I don't care. It's a name. But we're on the same page when it comes to textbooks and the written history. That I agree with. My only thing that I say about that is, if you're going to give the history, I want it in full context because that's a part of American history. And I think a lot of issues that people have is when you bring up the racial dynamic of this country going back to the founding fathers, they just visually cannot grasp the concepts of what it was of what was going on. And so when you bring it up to them, yeah, but it wasn't really that big of a deal. I think if people knew from day one, hey, the founding fathers, as great as they were rebels. They fought the British. They rioted. I'll say it again. They rioted, but also they had this other part that's really part of American history. I think if people learn that growing up, it'll help us getting older to be able to talk and relate. But right now, once we're adults, people have their mindset of what America is. And all they see is Captain America in the movies, and they don't see anything bad that we've ever done.
You see, but you and I can have a mature and level-headed discussion about it. But I'm talking about those who go on a war campaign and saying, like you said, let's give the full context. And then there are people that say they don't deserve full context because of what they did was bad enough to be excised from society.
Yeah.
That's what I'm concerned about, because when you read stories or listen to stories about canceling presidential figures that were founding fathers, notwithstanding that as a product of their time they did some evil things.
Yeah.
Okay. They have a special place in American history to get recognition for the positive side of things without canceling that out by where in their time it was more accepted what they did. Not that it's acceptable, but in that time period was accepted. And imposing a different standard on generations ago, and then canceling them out of society altogether, so that maybe a generation or two from now they don't even know who Thomas Jefferson was.
I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Well, that's what I'm fearing. That's what I mean. That's the direction we're going, where you got a woke mob dictating what happens to the majority. You and I can agree intellectually that the full context can be presented, and most mature people can say, you know what, Thomas Jefferson did great things in spite of, in his time, he still owned slaves, which was an evil, right? But what if the minority takes over, like people like in the school boards and whatnot, say, you know what, we're just going to take it out of the educational system altogether. That's what I'm concerned about, and that's the direction we're headed. Anyway, it's I am going to watch the Lightning game, by the way. So I'm gonna do 1 hour on the show. I'm at my 1 hour, but you're free to co-host my show anytime Jason's not here, man. Come on in. I like debate. Love debate.
No, I'm good. Well, hey, we will figure out a time to do a crossover crossover episode.
Yeah, because I'd love to have them both in.
We need to do more of that. Yeah, that's cool.
All right, dude. Hey, I'm gonna go.
All right, thanks for calling in, brother.
All right, bud. Later.
All right. Shout out to Reggie from Cover 2 Conversations. Him and Mike Dove every Saturday, 5:30-ish, 6-ish, probably 6.
Whenever they stroll in.
Yeah, actually, they're I think at 6 now because we got the new show, His, Hers, and Ours. They're from 4 o'clock to 5:30. So.
All right, and this has been Conservative Parents with Liberal Kids, now known as Whiskey Rebellion. Find us on Facebook. I'm Richard Myers of the Myers Firm, PA. My practice is largely devoted to representing spouses going through a difficult divorce, high conflict divorces, custody battles, that kind of thing. I also handle employment discrimination cases and unpaid wage cases, overtime cases, that kind of thing. Contact me at rmyers@myersfirm.com, and Myers is always spelled Meyers. So it's rmyers at myersfirm.com. The phone number you can reach me directly is at 813-477-2623. Had a swallowing problem. And Jason Ricardo is not here. Shout out ricardolaw.com. Look him up.
I'll throw his card up.
All right, put him up there. All right, next week, maybe we're going to be airing on Mondays. Right, we got to make that announcement.
I think you should.
All right, we might be doing a switch because Jason's familial obligations tend to occur on Tuesdays, as it turns out. Not good for the normal Tuesday time slot. So we're in negotiations, as we say, talking about what's the best day of the week. It's probably going to be Monday nights now. And so tune in. I'll let everyone know through Facebook.
Boom.
All right, cool.
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
All right, later.
Holla!
We're out.
We'll run some Gino on the way out.
Okay, all right, cool.
Let's do that.
Right.
Sounds good.
You know that new sound you're looking for? Well, listen to this.
The exclusive project.
Can't speak for y'all, already know that I ain't perfect. Searching a new direction, but the same person. Put his soul in the verse, and I'll be the first to hit the dirt. Fight for civil rights, represent the earth. Though if I put my fist on, people keep their lips tucked. Joking about black power, veteran, dismiss the talk. I had enough of hearing what they playing on the radio. Getting interviews on the internet and killing any show. I used to think I had to get thumbs up from execs. Realize without the talent, they ain't getting any checks. Many seem suspect. Got a lot of talent, people said it's so just to increase the bank balance. I seen malice, and yet I still speak peace. Say a prayer for deceased, then I preach to the streets. See, I seen how the life a lot harder overseas. In the States, we leaving bottled water at the beach, feeding pets fast food, love following celebrities. Bad credit still doesn't stop them from mailing me approving for a card, though it's hard to get a job. Meanwhile, 1% of America living large. Let me know how many people sick and tired being underpaid. Back pressed against the wall, unappreciated. Time to elevate, time moves quick. And if you're feeling what I'm feeling, pump your fist like this. How many people sick and tired being underpaid? Back pressed against the wall, unappreciated. Time to elevate. the trap stars performing anywhere, Confederate flag backyards with the red and blue flag wrapped around my wrist, talking about injustice and relating to the kids that exist as a dying breed, feeling like the 90s. DJ Premier P, rock perfect rhyme beats. Remember when they tried me? Haters saying I should stop following the dream. That's the consequences when you flop. But listening to other men talk when you're lost. No Maybach needed and I'm still a boss. I paid the cost, kid. Couple years in and I'm often still getting better. Others got exhausted. Gorgeous, knowing that I'm speaking from my heart. Nah, with your eyes closed, got you seeing through the dark. How many people sick and tired being underpaid? Back pressed against the wall, unappreciated. Time to elevate. Time